review this first segment. And of course, we like to flag with Nigeria's most influential newspaper, Leadership. Leadership has around 2 billion naira drugs, seizes 7 million kilograms of drugs. 5,147 prosecuted as UNODC 6 corporation to dismantle cartels. I'll take that leading story once again. Drug war, 42 barons, 32,000 others arrested in 34 months. NDLEA destroys 202 billion naira drugs, seizes 7 million kilograms of drugs. 7,147 prosecuted as UNODC 6 corporation to dismantle cartels. On the side of that headline story, we have climate change poses grave risk to Nigeria, Agora policy. Contradictory judgments in Plateau worry stakeholders. Rumble over House Appropriation Committee membership. 20 bodies recovered in Taraba boat mishap. And both these, we have Naira regains ground to 970 per dollar at parallel market. That's the business news on the cover of Leadership. Naira regains ground to 970 per dollar at parallel market. And above the masthead, Appeal Court hears Kano governorship case today. Appeal Court hears Kano governorship case today. And Tinubu pushes for new investments from Arab nations. And with that, we move to the page 3 of the paper where we have our stand. Our stand today is on states, local governments, and education sector. States, local governments, and education sector. You will have to find out more as you log on to the website of Leadership. And just before we go, we have the back page today, Monday column with Dakuku Pete side. He's talking on politics of statistics in Nigeria. Ghana must go says just Ghana must go to lighten your day. Imo PDP candidate promises 23,000 jobs. And of course, that is the news. And Ghana must go ask in Europe, certainly not in Nigeria. That is fun, you might say. Well, for more on that, inside stories and continuation of headline stories, and of course, the editorial and back page, log on to the website of Leadership, www.leadership.ng. From Leadership, these days, next on our menu, these days says Fitch, Nigeria's credit rating stable, predicts inflation at below 21%. Fitch, Nigeria's credit rating stable, predicts inflation at below 21%. Forecast oil production to reach 1.8 million barrels per day by 2024. Cardoso, that is the CBN governor, vows to change central banking narrative. Declares CBN policies aimed at improving lives. Sanusi urges Apex Bank to fight inflation. I'll take that leading story on this day once again. Fitch, Nigeria's credit rating stable, predicts inflation at below 21%. Forecast oil production to reach 1.8 million barrels per day by 2024. Cardoso vows to change central banking narrative. Declares CBN policies aimed at improving lives. Sanusi urges Apex Bank to fight inflation. And on the strip, just beneath that picture story on the cover of this day, we have civil rights group questions judicial integrity in Plateau State. Civil rights group questions judicial integrity in Plateau State. And where we move up to where are the savings from subsidy removal? That is the news analysis inside THISDAY newspaper today. Where are the savings from subsidy removal? Perhaps you want to find out more as you log on to the website of THISDAY. But just before we go, we have two more stories on the cover. Lokbobiri will hold NNPCL accountable for complete rehabilitation of all refineries by 2024. May cancel licenses of modular refineries not in use. Targets 2 million barrels per day before end of 2023. And that underneath that we have Tinubu heads to Saudi Arabia for Arab African Summit. For more on this day, inside stories, editorial news analysis, log on to the website www.thisdaylive.com. From this day, the Daily Sun is next. Daily Sun says Labour adamant on strike over Ajeru. NEC meets tomorrow to take decision. Flays Imo government urges presidency to intervene. His Labour Party member Onochie. Meaning that we have no going back on enactment of whistleblower law, declares federal government. As CSO said to hold policy roundtable on protection law. Now strikes terrorist hideouts in northeast, northwest. Native report Tinubu sued over failure to probe missing $15 billion, 200 billion naira oil revenues. Mammoth crowd as Diri ends Yenagua campaigns, says state capital development priority. NDLEA seizes 14.4 million pieces of opioids in Lagos. In Lagos rates as trafficker excretes 86 wraps of heroin. Rex appointments, Labour Party threatens legal action. Akwa Ibom APC disowns new INEC rec Umoren. And beside the masthead of Daily Sun, Nigerians groan over rising cost of cooking gas orders. These are leading stories on Daily Sun today, November 6, 2023. For more on this, log on to the website of Daily Sun. From Daily Sun, the Punch is next on our menu. And of course, Punch leading story says off-season governorship polls. 220 police patrol vehicles deployed in Imo, Kogi, Bayelsa. IG to complete deployment Friday to redeploy Imo CP before polls. Egbetukumba's VIP escorts orders personnel to curb vote buying violence. Commanders orders killed as military bombards terrorists. Details of 70 recovered corpses with police, Abia. 15 bandits killed in Benue supremacy battle. Both tragedy, Taraba recovers 20 bodies, bans night travel. Israel gives condition for ceasefire, deaths hit 11,000. Above the masthead of the Punch, Niger, Benue, Kano marketers hiked fuel, blame transport cost. Cooking gas scarcity hits Lagos, Katsina orders. Collecting pension unlawful, Falana tests Akpabio orders. These are the headline stories on the Punch today, Monday, November 6, 2023. For more continuation of these headline stories, more inside stories, log on to the website of the Punch, www.punchng.com. And from the Punch, we have next paper on our menu, The Guardian. The Guardian says corruption, defiance to laws cost investors 1 trillion naira in property loss. Corruption, defiance to laws cost investors 1 trillion naira in property loss. The story continues on page 6 of The Guardian. Refineries will hold NNPCL accountable for completion dates, says Lokobiri. Sarab sues Tinubu over alleged missing $15 billion, 200 billion naira oil funds. Adelabu crash landing in Ibadan airport raises fresh concerns on illegal charter operators. Atiku may be expelled from PDP, says former Vice President's aide. IGP affirms readiness for weekends of cycle Guba polls. The story continues on his news page 4. Coalition laments Akeredolu's absence. Impeachment crisis is in Ondo. The story continues on page 5 of The Guardian. For continuation of these headline stories, inside stories, the editorial and back page, log on to the website of The Guardian, www.guardian.ng. From The Guardian, of course, we move over to the second to the last paper on our menu, and that is Vanguard. Vanguard's leading story this Monday says CBN Governor Cardoso vows to fight inflation. CBN Governor Cardoso vows to fight inflation to focus on core mandate of price stability. Inflation has had massive impact on lives of Nigerians, Sanusi, that is the former CBN governor. CBN Governor Cardoso vows to fight inflation to focus on core mandate of price stability. Inflation has had massive impact on lives of Nigerians, according to former CBN Governor Sanusi. Alleged bias, IGP to redeploy Imo CP. Alleged bias, IGP to redeploy Imo CP. Forest, Dangote repatriates $687.977 million from Pan-African operations. Forest, Dangote repatriates $687.977 million from Pan-African operations. Forest gains, banks profits ballooned by 156% to 2.3 trillion naira. Abuja hotels tighten security amid US embassy alert. Serap sues Tinubu over failure to probe missing $15 billion, 200 billion naira oil revenues. And in sports, we have NPFL. Rangers go top as Shooting Stars Doma United win big. With that, we move to the ones above the masthead of Vanguard. Turnaround maintenance. NNPCL bound by completion date. Federal government is sharing news. Why Nigerians should kiss free, fair, and credible elections goodbye. Nwondu. 5 days to Bayelsa Imo Kogi governor pose. Fear of violence, apathy looms. Tinubu leaves Abuja for Saudi summit this week. These are the headline stories on Vanguard today, Monday, November 6, 2023. For more of these headline stories, inside stories, editorial back page, you log on to the website of Vanguard, www.vanguardngr.com. Well, this is where we come to the end of the first segment of the show, Inside Nigeria, your breakfast show on Leadership Television. Of course, for the second part of the program, our guest is already in the house to throw more light on some of the headline stories. Don't go away, stay tuned.
Contact 08036886158. Last word leadership podcast studio. You have the last word.
Is Inside Nigeria, your breakfast show on Leadership Television. My name is Winifred Ugbebo once again, and this is the second part of the program. And I have my guest, as you can see in the house, actually is my Monday guest, Dr. Ali. He's a political economist, also public affairs analyst. Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you. Now, when you came in, your attention was drawn to Vanguard. CBN Governor Cardoso vows to fight inflation. Of course, you were already sharing more on that. What are you saying? Of course, still on consistent business. That's what THISDAY leads with that. Fitch, Nigeria's credit rating stable, predicts inflation at below 21%.
Right. Well, it's a different analysis and different output. However, this could also have its job really cut out for him alongside Wale Edun. They have to do something magical to really bring the inflation from 26.7 to the expected 21%. Though I see it as how do I call it, a high optimism that they need to work through. However, we let that they have started paying the backlog of $7 billion of FX that is causing the problem and the creditor want to really get their money. I think if they can do that, that would have helped us in the economy to make economy to really come back to normalcy. And I think that Naira started appreciating as
Yes,
well.
that
So
is cheering news.
honestly,
Of course, leadership has it by its side.
exactly. So
Second leading story, Naira regains ground to 970.
70. That's so glad. But I'm convinced that it will start going down more. It will appreciate more because those that are holding Naira now and now that speculation
What is
now
happening
is
that
now on
is
the
actually
negative
going
side.
down? It's not as if Nigerians' exports have improved.
Yes, there's some
Is it the borrowing?
there's some economic error that have been committed during Emefiele era, and that's causing the problem. Part of it is the backlog itself. Part of it is the way he has actually go and use our money to how do I call it, to really be a collateral, to really get money from the from a lot of lenders. So these are the problem. However, I also have a challenge for them, especially the CBN governor. Now our banks have 25 billion as their how do I call it, their conditional capital base. Thank you, to really be a bank. But at this age, can we say that is valid? You agree with me that most MSME, we have about 39 million MSME, and about 96%, they create employment of 96%, and they contribute over 88%. Now, if you look at that now, that simply means with 25 billion, the whole bank can only give us 100 billion. So, and that simply means it's too small. If you rate that 25 billion, it's like $30 million. But then when they give that to 2004 by Soludo, it's about $187 million. You can see that there is a serious gap in that. So I think this is the appropriate time for them to say, no, we are moving from 25 billion to 500 billion naira. So I wouldn't know what they will, but it's a job that is cut out for Cardoso, and he must achieve that between now and the end of this administration. It's very, very important.
Okay, the end of this administration.
Yes, 4
it's still
years.
5. That is 4 years.
Yes,
I think
it's not bad. They can start planning it. It's not something you can change overnight.
And
You have to
still
keep
on
it from.
this,
Some of them will have to collapse. Some of them may not have that affordability. But I think 500 billion is not too much at this point in time
okay.
for a bank.
Okay. And now on that, talking about forest, Vanguard's another sub-leading story says forest. Dangote repatriates $687 million from Pan-African corporations. So is it going to reflect in Nigeria?
Well, ideally, we just have to celebrate Dangote because it has been our forefront company that we believe in globally. And for this repatriation, it's a good one. That's what multinational, Coca-Cola, BZ, Cadbury, that's what they do. They repatriate to their own country. So if we have someone like Dangote, and Dangote has actually enjoyed Nigerian government.
Yes.
Government in, government
So
out. It's always
war with is it war of attrition with Bua?
right.
Because I read Bua's
Yes, I went through it too. So I think government has Dangote has enjoyed government a whole lot, because if you remember, we have Ibeto Cement where are they now? We have Bonham, all of them, and Dangote has acquired a lot of them. So if he's doing this, I think it's a good one for him to actually repatriate. Perhaps this would have also reflect in our balance sheet of balance of trade or balance of payment. I think this should have reflected balance of payment. And I'm sure they said by this November, Dangote has started refining.
But however,
three cargo of
as we see, because the last
oil.
time that you were here last week, talking about last week, and there were reports that he was here to be giving.
Yes, he has three cargo of crude oil now. So we expect him to start producing. And by the time he starts producing, he's not producing for only Nigeria. Perhaps he's not only producing only petroleum products. It's called Dangote Refinery and Petrochemical. So he's going to also bring a whole lot of crude. So I think it's a good one. It's a cherry news. So we hope other people like Adenuga and Co will look at his way and also go out, do the business, and bring funds to Nigeria.
Perhaps, of course, at the end of the day, with the deadline for Port Harcourt refinery to around maintenance, one expects that.
I have cautious optimism for that refinery because
I was going to ask you.
Exactly.
Now, deadline looms December.
I can tell you I have cautious optimism for that, and that's why I will challenge NLC to go there, look at the status of things, and report to Nigeria, because we don't have day-to-day information. Trust this government.
Unfortunately, NLC is embroidered on that side. That you saw what happened in Imo. That Ajero, the
Yes,
NLC
were
president,
brutalized.
brutalized by
Bad,
police
bad.
and
But I think, and that also shows that Ajero or NS generally should stop rubbing with these politicians, because by the time you start rubbing with them, sharing things with them, they just don't even take you serious. Unlike before, if
something
them
like
see that
see finish. will come
it is
between-
called see finish, because if it before and the whole NSC president they just can even enter the street because of them, and that's why I don't know. I'm not taking this, but I still want to respect Osifu, the TUC president more. He always stay on its own, and So, but I think the government of Imo State also should be cautious. Even else, because I saw it out somewhere in this, but I understand the organization plan to sanction federal government and the Imo State government. I think it's just too much for them to utilize. But this morning, we got to hear that the CP, Commissioner of Police, have been
But the IGP is
redeployed.
Okay, as he has been redeployed.
Yes.
Because I'm
It has
saying
been
to
redeployed.
redeploy.
It
I'm
has
like, when is it going to be done?
It has been redeployed. So I think that's a good one. But the thing is this. Is there still not going to compromise the next one? That's the question how need answer. Perhaps these three elections is a challenging one.
Dr. Lee, it's what we just said, what played out with Imo State government, governor and NSC president Nigeria. Is why many people have the opinion that Nigeria is not right for state police.
But the fact is that I think state police would have counter what happened now is in the other way around, because it is federal government.
But this time around, the state police will be under the purview of the state government.
Yeah,
if they can still even use federal,
what they do,
how much more?
Once we have state police, everybody have their own limits. In America, every unit, every level of government have their, and they have their job cut out. So such activities can still be federal activities, even with the state police. Election monitoring, election decisions will still be federal government. So I think we still need that state police, because it's not because of the governor, but because of the local ward, local crime rate. Perhaps, once you go and check, you have somebody in the street and you made him the head of vigilance. It's pretty difficult to somebody in that area, because they would have known that this person is this person. And once they see this person, they will know who actually brings you in. And you agree with me that most crime are having home. There's always home partaker there that will bring those outside to come and commit crime in that area. So I think we still need state police. Honestly, that will give us because if you look at it down, we discover that we need state police that will tame crime that is very local.
Yes, very local. But at the end of the day, what is okay? I was going to say something. We need state police, and it's in this view that some Nigerians raised the alarm recently that the National Assembly spent budget of 1 billion naira every term to review the constitution. At the end of the day, nothing comes out of it.
I think in terms of Nigerian constitution, we need holistic review of the constitution. We are tired of
budget
exactly.
1 billion.
We are tired
at the end of the day, nothing has
amending small part of the constitution. There should be holistic review and review of the constitution. But recall that President Jonathan actually did the conference, right? Is it confirmed? Yes. Obasanjo also have its own.
Yes,
also have its own. So I think we need to come from a good consensus, and to change consensus is always difficult. There are some things we change that to state assembly as well. So it's better we just look at it generally, and that is the restructure that we have been running for. Remember, Atiku said he come to change it. Buhari said he would change it that time, but by the time Governor El-Rufai, was the chairman when he presented his own, I do not think that the National Assembly will open it until the administration expires. So I think it's a serious problem. Honestly.
It's serious because this issue of state police has been
and it's always deputy president that will chair that area. So I think there's something they enjoy doing that every time.
All right, thank you so much. With that, we move over to the headline story. I was actually saving the best for the last of leadership today. It says drug war, 42 barons, 32,000 others arrested in 34 homes. Of course, you agree with me that says Marwa came on board as the NDLEA henchman. There has been a relentless war on drugs in the country, and of course, it's making so many inputs into this drug war.
Right.
What do you have to say? 42 barons.
I don't expect less from
Drug
Buba
barons.
Marwa, to have been a governor of Lagos State. That means he has the capacity and how do you call it? The capacity to really tame such such. However, I also want to celebrate his handlers, because those media people are also doing well. Recall that when you are performing and nobody is bringing it out to the fore, it's because Baba Femi has been doing well, because he bring everything to the limelight, and people get to see. But by and large, this issue of drug is endemic in Nigeria.
Yes, and we never knew until he came on stream. We just thought it was something that we just lost over.
It's endemic, and every now and then they arrest people at the airport that are taking drugs, and you see them coming back to Nigeria after they succeed and become celebrities, and people start celebrating. I think it's the right direction.
And especially in that Lagos, you see that there are so many supposedly big men, big guys around.
But drug is not a small boy business. It's for bigger boys. In fact, if you even imagine the capacity people level of that involving drugs, you know that it's not for small people. So I think it's in the right direction. I pray they will not harm him, and I pray. I don't know if it's the second time or first time. I don't know. Because at the point when they even appointed, this is for
my sentiments
but he has people that even in little things, he can also show his capacity.
And now with this drug war, it's not related to the issues of crime, the challenging endemic crime rates in our country. It's also what past governors, northern governors' wives have also set up committees severally to tackle, because the drug situation is so endemic now, especially all across the country. I don't think any part of
there's no part of the country that in fact
because so much has been said.
I think it has to do with it also comes
at the time they were prohibiting the import of all this codeine, drugs, and tramadol in the country.
But the fact just means that the more you caution them, the more they just change another style. You see some people even open sewage and be inhaling it. You imagine at what level they have coming up with a bottle of something every time. I think we also orientation. So I think at this point, international orientation needs to also come on board to work in hand with NDLEA. There should be a kind of message that preaches a storyline, and this is why we need to also talk to our filmmakers. That's all they have to do. Start doing it. Portray people that take drug and what they ended up negatively happens to them. So if we can have a storyline like that, I think it should be in different local language, different films, and I think from them we can have a reduction in that.
NOA, you mentioned NOA seems to have gone under. NOA is not as
well, I think we have another man. I think I was around him now. He's a journalist over time, and he has got. So I think, like you rightly said, for you to function in government, there should be a consideration and funding a proper form. Because I can tell you, I don't know how this man is doing Buba Mara, but there is a proper form. They just even employ now. Some people are still under training, so that shows that they are increasing their capacity. So anyway, also deserve more, but they should also design a better way of achieving all this.
Okay, thank you so much. Now, we're still on drugs. What other area do you envisage that Marwa or NDLEA has to because UNODC, another UN drug organization, cooperation with smart cartels.
Now, you will recall that when I was watching there's always CID, there's always people that investigate. You see, shine, shine, and it's focused to gather and garner information. So we have to go back to that level whereby even people that are part of them are joining them. I watched a film that a lady will pretend to be part of people, or a man will pretend to be part of people, and his sole aim is to garner information without people noticing that. But Nigeria is too bad now that if once you get a job in NDLEA, the person you take it to Facebook, and that will have exposed you to a whole lot. But in their last training, I have someone who was part of it. The person was saying that they really caution them. In fact, for the whole training, they seize their phone and they tell them that don't do this, don't do that, because that exposes you to the public. If you are doing such job, sometimes you don't need to. Perhaps they allow you not to wear a uniform on the street. So it is when you are in the office. So sometimes you need to like keep that as a secret for you to achieve your because trust these drug people. Once they see that you are like a threat to them, they can do anything.
Yes, they can be desperate. Now, with all these regulatory organizations and that in the country, Nigeria, especially even apart from NDLA, we even have a NAFDAC. Is the law? They have obsolete laws that actually do not serve enough as
they actually have chairman on that committee and whatever. So I think that and that's the essence of national assembly. You should always work hand in the ministry agency and be involved to tweak and change the law to suit the current society. Yes. There's sometimes they say the fine is 500 naira. At this age, and it will be a big crime. It's 500 naira. So it's quite not a one. So I think we have to change that to achieve something.
All right, thank you so much. Just before we go, there is how well prepared is INEC over the
that's
election government Imo, Kogi, and Bayelsa. And according to reports, like last week, there were reports that in Imo and Kogi states, the governors have brought up all the available spaces in some of these states in the states, so that observer monitors will have room to stay.
Well, I think that's for political party. If the other way around, another party will also practice that. My own concern is just about INEC. INEC keep on receiving the bar, as that is expected. The bar will have trust in them. And from what happened in the last election, they also need to prove themselves further and raise the bar. They must make sure that all the systems should work. And now they have less job for them. But for me, in long run, I think I am prepared that we should onboard the work is too much for them. The supply chain and what are used to. So if they should some parts and another agency should some, I think that would have been better, because if you don't onboard them, it becomes a problem. And also I wish we stated yes,
exactly. Do local government, of course. We see how
at the end of the day, there's one party that will win everything. Except it was Erufai, National Erufai that changed the narrative there. He said they should do a voting that was not the normal voting, and he lost to other political. But it's always good that test running. So, but the fact is that there is no way governor will appoint a chairman of CX, State Electoral, whatever. And you were expect opposition to him. In fact, most opposition don't even go that campaigning. So there will be some even boycott such.
But are you thinking now that INEC should take over?
I think they should look into that area too, because it's also the private of governance. There are some areas that they are not of a particular political party, and some that can deliver for them is not from the ruling party. So, and there's no way they can match, and it won't be serious threats. So I think government should look into that and maybe have a kind of administrative way of giving them who becomes the state INEC officer.
No, I don't think now at the beginning, INEC was saying that they were not going to transmit the results live. At the end of the day, they said
they have admitted,
that they were going to do that. Now, are we going to hold INEC by his word, because we saw what happened in previous elections?
But I also have this reservation that they didn't also upload does not mean there is a compromise. Okay. So I think maybe the back end is another issue now. They could say the top 5 political parties should join them at the back end and see what actually happened before it is uploaded, because sometimes it's a network, so there could be glitch, there could be it can even be compromised. So sometimes it's not that end result, it's the process. So I want them to work on the process more than that will give us the final result. Because if you don't work on the process and you are waiting for the final, court will become the final judgment. And that's what is happening now. Court is now the one giving us. Look at, there is a case in court today. Now appeal court hears Kanu governorship case today. That means after INEC must have done his work, we also go to court, right from the
Nigerians are relying more on court.
Well, it's because of the lacuna in the system. There is a lot of gap. Though it's an ongoing democracy, there's always room to improve more, because once one case happens, National Assembly is expected to create a law that will guide it. But the by and large is that it's not a good one that courts will become the sole, decision maker for our election. So that means that actually abuse our, our electoral system itself.
Thank you so much. So with that, I think we've come to the end of today's Monday show on Leadership Television Inside Nigeria. Of course, I've had with me in the studio a political economist and also a public affairs analyst, Dr. Ali Elias. Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to have you on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. My name is Winifred. Until we come your way again with another guest. Same time, same station tomorrow. Yes, wishing you a beautiful day. See you then.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advertisements, please contact 08036886158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have